Comrades, welcome once again to our channel. As is our norm, we'll be trying to make sense of the events that are unfolding that affect not only our present, but also have a bearing on the future of the country. Today we'll be trying to make sense of General Muhoozi's appointment and what that means for the future of the country. Like many people have noted before, and they are commenting all over social media, we saw this coming, and it is another step in Museveni's march to creating a presidential monarchy. Many commentators on social media are pointing out how they had predicted that it would come to pass, and indeed it has come to pass. Many are now positioning their lenses to see how the final act will be played out, how Museveni will eventually hand over power to his son. But what is conspicuously missing in this whole discussion is, what are we going to do to stop him in his tracks? Because the vast majority of Ugandans are opposed to a presidential monarchy. The vast majority don't believe that actually Muhoozi has what it takes to lead. But that notwithstanding, we are seeing him, rise and rise and rise to the point that now he is the de facto number 2. He's the de facto vice president of the country, by virtue of the powers that were vested in the office of the CDF shortly before he assumed office. So, Museveni is walking consciously and straight to his objective. But what is rather worrying is that we who are supposed to stop him are still discussing how best to tackle him. It's like a striker that has broken loose. He's now, in the defense, and rather than rush and do whatever it takes to stop him, the defense is now discussing amongst itself who should tackle, how best to deal with him. Before we know it, the ball will be in the net. In the 1980s, Kenyans were undergoing a very brutal period of oppression under the heavy heel of Daniel Arap Moi. And they used to lament about their helplessness and hopelessness. And they would always point to Uganda and say, he can do this to us because for us we are Kenyans. But if they were Ugandans, he cannot dare to do such things in Uganda, because Ugandans will always be Ugandans. And they said this with envy, seeing how we used to kick out despots in our history. But today, whenever you go on social media and they ask Kenyans what they think about Uganda, The first statement they make is, oh, that country which has been ruled by one person for almost half a century. So we've moved from being the envy of the region to the laughing stock of the region as the cowards that cannot confront a despot. So we need to ask ourselves, how did we get here? How did we transition from being the courageous envy of the region to the cowards and spineless laughing stock of the region? We must go back, retrace our tracks, and ask ourselves what went wrong. Where did that spirit of Ugandans go? Because really we are just a very faint shadow of our forefathers that always rose up to the occasion whenever need arose. Today, we are so consumed with wanting to emulate fashionable means of, fighting against oppression. We want to be seen here to be moving with the times. We must move with our times. Because it is us that are feeling that heavy yoke of oppression, not anybody else. Whether they, give us a claim or not, that's not what we are fighting for. We are fighting for our freedom, and we must use all means that are available to us. Let us not try, to become philosophers who pontificate about things, but they cannot change anything. The essence of the struggle for freedom is to change. Not how best we describe it, not how others, rate us. No, they can rate us in whatever form they want. We should not care. We only care about our freedom. So we must rise up. The time is now. Many are now positioning themselves, to study what lies in the future. No, let's not study what lies in the future. Let's work to shape that future. We must realize that while we are here, talking and doing all this, the despot is working his way to his ultimate objective. And he will not be the only one. Gabon, Togo, Equatorial Guinea, they all have despots that have been there for more than 50 years. You think there are no citizens there? You think there is no opposition? The citizens are tired, the opposition is there, but they have chosen means that cannot remove a despot. And unfortunately, it's the same means that we are also choosing to use. We are following in their footsteps, but we think that ours will be different. We will suffer the same fate like them. And when that time comes, you will just see another uniformed man emerge from the barracks and kick them out. And then we will all loud, oh yes, they have done it. But we are saying, oh, for us, we are too democratic to use some means to defend our freedom. What is democracy without freedom? It's absolutely meaningless. So, all those that are truly disgusted with what is happening, decide to act. Indeed, Frederick Douglass pointed out that the stronghold of oppression cannot be loosened by pleas to the oppressor's conscience. Oppression is resisted. You don't negotiate with it. You don't plead with it. You don't kiss despotism out of power. You kick it out. You don't massage it out of power. So, The ball is no longer in the court of the despot. The ball is in our court. Whether you agree with what he's doing or not, he's doing it nonetheless. Let's not really expend our energies trying to shame shameless people, trying to appeal to people that are tone deaf. We must do the needful. We must take action. And that action should have been taken yesterday. We are already hopelessly behind schedule. So we no longer have time to keep on discussing. The time is nigh. Let's take action.